Hello everyone, it's great to be here with you all tonight. Where are you from? How would you identify yourself? I want to tell you a story about a time when I was asked this question. A few months ago, I was walking down the street. I was in a rush, late to an appointment. In front of me, I saw two police officers walking in the direction towards me. As I come closer to these police officers, one of them reaches out their hand. "Sorry, sir, stop and check ID card, please." So we move to one side. I pull out my ID card, and he's taking a few notes and asking me a few questions. One of the questions he asked me was, "Where are you from?" "Hong Kong." He said, "Where are you from?" "Hong Kong. I was born and raised in Hong Kong, have a permanent resident card. You're holding it right now." No. I mean, where are you from? You know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. Where are you from?" And I said, "I don't know what you mean." And then I asked him, "你係咪問我屋企人係嚟自邊度？佢哋係菲律賓，嚟自香港?" He just kept on writing notes. And in that moment, I felt so tense. I was obviously in a rush, and he was asking me the same question and again. And, I was being challenged on what I was saying. And I remember asking the other officer, "你係咪香港出世?" "Yes." "咁你係咪香港人?" He said yes. 咁我呢?我係咪香港人? So at the end of it, both police officers walked away, but I still stood there, standing, trying to process what had just happened. My name is Aljon Rae Grospe. I'm a Hong Kong-Filipino. A term that we hear a lot these days is the term EM, ethnic minority, or 少數族裔. When I say the words EM, what do you think about? What is this person wearing? What is the color of their skin? Do they talk a certain way? Do they smell a certain way? Now, when I say the words expat, what do you think about? According to the population by census in 2016, there was 263,593 ethnic minorities, excluding foreign domestic helpers, living in Hong Kong. Now, it's roughly 3.6% of the total population. In this population by census, they break it down into different ethnicities, such as Filipino, Indonesian, Thai, Indians, so on and so forth. But it also includes white and mixed. So I find it quite interesting how when people nowadays they say ethnic minorities, they're always thinking of a Southeast Asian person. But when we think of the word expat, it's always somebody from a Western background. But in the eyes of this population by census, they're all ethnic minorities. What these statistics don't show is the different nuances in these communities. For example, an ethnic minority might also refer to somebody who has migrated to Hong Kong and they've been living here ever since. But it can also mean families who have been living in Hong Kong for many, many generations. The term ethnic minorities is such a colorful mosaic with many different shades. And I want to unearth a part of this term with my own story. Let me take you back to the beginning. My parents came to Hong Kong in 1996 for work, and I was born in Hong Kong January 1997. I've lived in Hong Kong ever since. Growing up, I grew up in a Filipino household. We ate Filipino food, we watched Filipino TV, we spoke Tagalog and English at home. When I went to primary school, I went to what was known as a designated school. And a lot of ethnic minorities went to that school with me as well. So most of my friends were also Filipinos, Indians, Pakistanis, Nepalese, and so on. And we just, we speak together in English, we were taught in English. Moving on to secondary school, almost the same story. Most of my friends were also from ethnic minority backgrounds. We didn't meet a lot of local Hong Kong people in our school. And we would just, live in our own comfortable bubble. Now, 12 years in this comfortable bubble finally popped when I finished secondary school and I went on to a local university here in Hong Kong. And I remember the first day in university, I just felt so out of place. A lot of people were majority local Hong Kong, local Chinese, few exchange students, a few ethnic minorities like myself. But for the most part, I couldn't see anybody who looked like me. And I remember being in such a culture shock. I wanted to bring back something familiar to me into my university life, and that was rugby. So I joined the university rugby team. I wanted to make more friends. I wanted to learn more Cantonese. And I remember in the rugby sessions, I was so outstanding, not because I was such a fantastic player, but I was the only one not being able to speak Cantonese. And I remember one training session where the coach was saying in Cantonese to everybody, okay, 兩個人一齊跑，一個向左邊，一個向右邊。好，有冇問題？ I didn't understand anything. When it was finally my turn to get the ball, I went in completely the opposite direction. And I was scolded by my teammates. I was scolded by my seniors. Maya, 左邊啊，left. 唔係右邊. That's when I knew 左邊, left, 右邊, right. We'd always go out for meals after the rugby practice to refuel. And I remember in the dinner table, I would do something like this before I eat. And my teammates went and asked me, like, are you sweaty? Like, what's the matter? And I would explain to him, like, this is actually a prayer, right? And I was, raised up by a Catholic family in the Philippines. 80% of the country is actually Catholic. And he was like, wow, I never knew that. Like, I never had Filipino friends like you to tell me that, and it's just great to learn that. So that really sparked this sharing between my culture and my teammates' culture and getting us to learn more about each other. And at the time, I also had a local roommate, and my roommate would show me different things, and he'd teach me Cantonese. He would help me translate things when I didn't understand them. We'd go out to Yamcha, we have Tabinlo. We'd go to places where we didn't, where I would have normally not went to by myself. And I just started to feel more absorbed and immersed in the local Hong Kong culture. And so, after 4 years, I just kept on playing rugby. I made a lot more Hong Kong friends. My Cantonese improved a lot. And finally, when I was looking for work, I was able to tell the interviewer, actually, yeah, I've a medium level proficiency in Cantonese. And I remember one of my first jobs, I was speaking to my colleagues in Cantonese. And I was sitting in Cantonese meetings, and I was reading notes in Cantonese, and it really helped me a lot in my workplace. And so, in between that, I would go back to the Philippines for holidays, and I would say, I want to live more. I want to live the Filipino life. I want to eat Filipino food. I want to go to different places in the Philippines. I want to hang out with my family, speak in Tagalog. And I remember, like, just when coming back and seeing my family, and they would always say, "Oh, look, it's the Hong Kong guy." And so finally, like, I realized to finally be called a Hong Konger, all you had to do was fly 1,000 kilometers. And so, all jokes aside, I felt very confused was in this awkward position. Like, am I a Hong Konger? Am I a Filipino? And I was just, almost like a tug of war. What do I say? And then I thought to myself, why can't we be both? Why do we need to say one identity and dilute the other? Why can't we say both identities so that we represent both where our parents came from, but also the culture that we've started to identify with? And so I would encourage all my ethnic minority friends who have the same story as me is to really be proud of this Hong Kong identity, right? Call yourself, if you feel like you're a Hong Konger, call yourself a Hong Konger. Don't be shy of that. And to my Hong Kong friends, I would say, let's learn more about ethnic minorities and really understand that we are all trying to be better for Hong Kong. We want to contribute, we want to serve, we see a future in Hong Kong, and we're really doing our best to be more absorbed in this community. So I go back to the first story now. The reason I was running late was because I was late to my Cantonese tutor, right? So what I actually did was I wanted to learn more after university, so I got myself a Cantonese tutor, and I wanted to communicate more with my neighbors, with my colleagues, with my friends much more fluently, and on this journey to becoming more of a Hong Konger, I saw a hurdle of people who were kind of questioning that, right? And what I really wanted to do now is for other people to understand that, to be more accepting. And I believe when we do this, we'll live in a more inclusive community, one that has social harmony, and one that has so much more contributions and a brighter future for Hong Kong. Thank you very much. 多謝大家. Maraming salamat po.